easier. It only means that fewer hands or humans are needed for the job. On that note, to start the program Agric today on ARSN television for this week, I am Khadija Oluwatoyin Amin. Our topic for this week is going to be the impact of mechanization or mechanized farming in our today Nigerian agricultural system. And to discuss that with us is no other person than Mr. Gabriel Idakolo. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you for having me.
We know that farming has, moved from the regular peasant way of doing, the whole thing to mechanized way of farming. Especially for big older farmers, you see that they are using the talk of the tractors, talk of different plow and the rest of it in doing their farming activities. What are the impact of this mechanization?
Mechanization is very important if we want to achieve the set goals of food security in Nigeria, for example. And looking at our burgeoning population that has continued to increase, and according to the United Nations Population Fund, it has stipulated that by 2030 we should be looking at about 250 million Nigerians. So the present method of farming might not be able to sustain food security in the country. When you look at a country like the United States of America, for example, their population is probably is not double the population of Nigeria, because they are about 300 and something million people. But you discover that they have been able to satisfy the agricultural needs of their people extensively because of mechanized farming. We discovered that both the smallholder farmers and the commercial farmers in the United States, for example, use mechanized farm tools to be able to carry out their operations. Coming to China, for example, you also discovered that looking at the population of about 1.3 billion people, without mechanized farming, China would not have been able to have food security and food sufficiency in order to feed their teeming population. And that's why it is very important in this present day that mechanized farming cannot be, is a very important factor in agriculture if we are looking at food sustainability and food security. And how do we go about mechanized farming in Nigeria? Over time, the idea and the thinking of people is that when we talk of mechanized farming, we are talking of tractors, harvesters, big mowers and the rest, and that they will be so big that you must learn how to use them, go for trainings, and at the end of the day do all sorts. But over time, we have discovered that there are small loading machines that can also be used for mechanized farming. The importance of mechanized farming is that fewer hands are used to produce a higher production, and that is what is expected in Nigeria. So we must not look at the impossibility of getting improved farm tools and improved products to be able to enhance our farming practices, because that is the only way that a better farming experience can be reached in Nigeria. Now, coming to the arable land in Nigeria, if you look at the population of Nigeria and where there is where people are living, you will discover that Nigeria has only occupied, apart from the sea level, has only occupied about 40% or 45% of its arable land. So we have so much land to cultivate if we are serious. And we cannot have that kind of number of arable land, acres of land, and want to live on subsistence farming, for example, to achieve results. And that is why mechanized farming in this present day and age is very important, and it cannot be overemphasized.
Okay, sir, you've talked about the importance, you've talked about this. They said there's nothing that have advantage that doesn't have disadvantage. We'll come to disadvantage later, but when you talk of mechanization, what kind of mechanization that we have?
Yes, Nigeria, as we are today, needs to go into what we call integrated farming. Integrated farming starts from seeding research to planting to monitoring progress, down to harvesting, down to sorting, down to transportation, and to the needed market. That is why it's called integrated farm process. So when we are talking of mechanized farming, there are tools that can be used for all these processes to ensure that it is seamless. For example, now we have reached a state that we now have what we call integrated farmhouses, that you will just have a small portion of land built in a way that you can have layers of produce, maybe vegetables and other sorts, and it will now be monitored for performance. And I tell you that that small land that is being used for integrated farm practices can produce even more than 4 or 5 acres in a year because of the improved seedlings, with the inputs that are being used, and the monitoring process that is being scientifically monitored to ensure that it brings out optimal output. So when we are talking of mechanized farming, there are various ways to ensure that we reach the goal, and part of it is to ensure that the people are interested. Interest is also very key, because some people believe in the old ways of farming and they are not ready to change. And if we continue in those old ways, we will not achieve our goal. So we must kindle the interest of the people to ensure that new farming processes and new farming inputs are used to be able to bring about what we need in this country. Now, some of the farmers have challenges as regards getting these new farming tools, maybe probably because of import challenges, exchange rate challenges, and capital challenges. And that is where the government comes in. The government needs to go the extra mile to ensure that these expected farm tools for mechanized farming is made available one way or the other to teeming farmers in Nigeria. And the government can go through these measures not only by directly importing these tools that we are talking about, but they can give commercial guarantees to those that are going to import it into the country, and to ensure that it is available for use by our farmers. So the idea of just leaving the farmers alone, knowing that the government also wants food sustainability and security, cannot be possible in this sense, because in climes that the farmers are left alone to do all by themselves, there is an enabling environment already put in place to ensure that this access is there. If we want to provide such an enabling environment, then we must have industries that can manufacture those implements here. When we have them here, then that easier access will be available to those implements, and we won't need to import them. And the time of freighting, cost of freighting will have been eliminated, and it will be cheaper. That is what is obtainable in other climes. So if we do not have companies that can manufacture these farm implements we are talking about in the country, then the government needs to intervene to ensure that it's seamlessly imported into the country one way or the other, and the price is something that the farmers can afford or is subsidized.
Okay, yes, I was coming to the fact that the price of some of these mechanized tools, because I remember one of the episodes of one of my program Agric today, where we saw heavy weightlifting machines, and then when we asked for the prices of these items, because we're talking about processing, and then it's not how you do processing that you don't have to weigh what you're exporting or what you're taking to the market and the rest of it. And when we heard prices of this thing, I was coming to ask, in indigenizing these tools that we're talking about, is there a way that we could have? I know that before, the Ministry of Agriculture liaised with the Ministry of Trade and Science and Technology, in seeing if before now you go to expos, you see these locally made tractors, you see, but you barely see these things these days. What we saw the last Agric fair, we saw some of these items displayed were imported.
Yes.
What are we doing? What should we be looking at in regards to this?
That also boils down to capacity of those manufacturers of those items. One one of the importance of Agric fair, for example, or trade fair, is to promote indigenous production and manufacturing. And what it does is that when these products are brought to the fair, Agric fair for example, it is expected that officials of the Ministry of Agriculture are supposed to come in, liaise with these companies that are producing these things, with the view of getting the nitty-gritty and the importance and the capacity of these products, and take the feedback to the Ministry of Agriculture to have a term paper on it to present to the government. When I say to have a term paper on it, it's not as if the government is going to give these manufacturers loan or anything like that, but they can create what we call an enabling environment. If, for example, an indigenous company is manufacturing tractor, for example, and the capacity that it has to manufacture a tractor in a year, maybe they only have capacity to manufacture 2 or 3 tractors in a month. That means in a year they will be manufacturing like 36 tractors, which might not be able to be enough for the teeming farmers to be able to use. But they are indigenous, so the government can come in to encourage them, to ensure that their capacity increases by giving them backing, maybe for foreign investors, or to be able to access loans, to be able to increase their capacity and improve the manufacturing. If an indigenous manufacturer of tractor has the capacity to produce enough, or grouped together have the capacity to produce enough, I do not see the need why farmers will have to go and import the tractors and incur shipping costs and other associated costs. So that is why when the government come for this trade fair or Agric fair, they should liaise with these manufacturing, indigenous manufacturing firms to ensure the processes and procedures they are using are up to date, they are workable in Nigeria, and look for ways and means to help them to improve their capacity. So that I said earlier that while those other clients, while the government does not interfere, it's because they are provided enabling environment. Because when there's an enabling environment, the manufacturer of the equipment you need are where you are. So you just need to go and negotiate with them. Even some of them, it gets to a situation whereby they even give out some of these products at higher purchase terms. Also, they also give them at mortgage terms to ensure that they pay over time directly from the manufacturer. So it eases the farmer's bottom line, profit margin, and the cash flow. But that is not what happens in Nigeria, because most farmers, if you want to buy any heavy duty equipment for your farm, you must pay cash. There is no negotiation. So these are some of the factors that needs to be brought in, or that can be advantageous to the farmers if we have local manufacturers manufacturing these farm implements we are talking about.
Yes, quickly we'll take a break on return the program. Economy continues. Stay tuned.
The Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria (ARCN) coordinates the activities of research institutes and is responsible for supervision, regulation, coordination of research activities and programs of higher institutions in Nigeria. And Professor Hamidu Shaributu, since assumption as Executive Secretary of ARCN in April 2020, has solidified the transformation of agriculture in Nigeria through strategic and meaningful execution of research findings for improvement of the agricultural sector.
For grains, we have the parabolic solar dryers. These are specialized solar dryers used for drying agricultural produce such as whole grains, yam and cassava chips, fruits and vegetables more efficiently. It is made of a special material that concentrates the rays of the sun within the enclosure while eliminating harmful ultraviolet radiation. Products dried are free from contaminants and are hygienic.
The parabolic shaped solar dryer is a need-based technology, because virtually when we travel all over the country, you will see by the roadside You see people drying all sorts of agricultural produce. Some spread their own on bare ground, and by the time the vehicles are moving, the dust stay on the products. The reptiles will come, they will eat whatever they can eat, drop their feces and their urine on it, and the owner comes in the evening to pack everything together and still eat that product. And the product has been contaminated, and we feel this is not right, and it is part of our mandate to make sure that we set it right, and that was what led to this, so that we can solve this problem at the grassroots level. Instead of drying by the roadside, drying on just bare ground in their villages, when they have this as a drying center, everybody in the community can bring their product there, spread on the tray, and they get it dry under hygienic condition that is covered. And the dryer also have another property to screen the ultraviolet ray of the sun, which is also can cause hazard to human health.
Welcome to Federal College of Land Resources Technology, Kuru, Jos, Plateau State.
The Atomic Absorption Spectrophotometer, AFS, is an instrument which is used for the determination of metals that are dissolved in source.
Plantation. Put it like welcome to production farms, where we're going to take you around our production tanks and a practical fisheries and integrated farm and integrate the farming system with a banana and plantain and so many aquatic animals.
Students and the other youths and women within the community. And this, in the aspect of training, we have two aspects of the fisheries and aquaculture. The fisheries aspect is the way to catch a fish, like a processing aspect, the catching aspect, and then when we come to the aquaculture aspect, is the breeding and then the production unit. In every aspect of agriculture sector, you need to have a seed. So the college here, our mandate is to train how to produce a fish seed, that is the fingerlings. And also not only the fingerling production also, we also aid in producing manpower from different aspects of the community, different communities. Fishery School Baga is a very long established in 1978, of which, for me, let me this use of opportunity to say that I am also part and parcel of this college, because I graduated from this college, and that college, the college is more or less of entrepreneurship of the college, where when a student leaves the college, at least can stand by itself. Now, as we are talking about the federal government is now talking about food security. So once if you come out from this college, you can able to at least maintain our training and then also stand by yourself, self-employment.
Okay, this is the one of our greenhouses, the 7th greenhouse that we have in the school. As you can see, we have cucumbers growing here. Okay, we have the crops, and the cucumbers, they are about 60 days old today, 55 to 60 days old. Okay, as you can see them, they are doing very well. So you can take a glance at some of the foliage that are growing. They are still fruiting very massively. The fruits are very, very big and very, very big. Okay, you can see we also employ drip system of irrigation also here. Drip system of irrigation, okay, where the waters are given to the plants at intervals and regulated. Generally, usually we get the plants twice daily, morning and evening. Okay, as I went due, we vary that based on the temperature that we have from time to time. Okay. As you can see them, I see the cucumbers are doing very well. They are going very well. We actually done some harvesting this week. We've done 2 harvestings already. So generally we do 2 harvestings a week, like Monday and Thursday. The other factor I would like us to know is the fact that the crops we are doing here, they are actually F2, like they are the second filial generation. Okay, as you can see, the fruits growing really massively. So based on the research that we have done here, we have been able to see that most of the time we buy the F1 generation from Dizengo of Nigeria. You understand? They are this European variety, you get. And then we have seen, based on research, that the fruits can actually be harvested and harnessed in the production of further seeds. This is one of the milestone achievements we've been able to achieve in Fecolat. We have been able to see that instead of wasting a lot of money, using a lot of money to buy F1 from Europe, understand, to plant in the greenhouse, we can also make use of the F2, like the product of the F1, to produce further croppings.
Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria is wearing a new look under the stewardship of Professor Garba Hamidu Sharubutu, who says, "Alone I am nothing, but together I am something." ARCN,
promoting agriculture.
Welcome back. It's still Agric Economy on ARCN Television, Abuja, Nigeria. We're talking about mechanized, the impact of mechanization. We've talked about the need for, these farm tools to be locally produced. This way, farmers can get to, acquire them or get them in instrumental terms of instrumental payments, or be able to come up with, even if they're under any association, that they can go in group and purchase in a long-term mode of payment. And our guest who has been talking to us is Mr. Gabriel Dakodo. Thank you for joining us on the program, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, we've touched on so many aspects of mechanization. How do we control the prices of because even some of these things are made in Nigeria. During the Agri Fair, like I said, New Hot, one of the agency under the Agric Research Council, who came up with a spraying tray. It's a very beautiful tray, one spraying tray. But I see that that's just even the only one that they brought up for display. There's no other one for sale. How do we help them, come up with these things in mass, production that helps farmers? And the truth is that some of these information do not trickle down. That's why we have the ARCN, yes. But then, aside the ARCN television, every news just carries it in the peripheral level. Trade fair at Accord, if you come, you buy what you want. People, when you hear of these trade fairs, even farmers barely come. People that come more are those that want to buy. They don't come in preparation that I'm buying a tool or something. They just come, bring their wares, finished goods, and just come and sell to farmers. What's your word?
The truth is that Nigeria still needs a lot still needs to be done when it comes to this Agri Fair that we're talking about. And just like you said, you see the preponderance of finished products over there. Even some of these agencies and companies that they come to display their finished products. They do not bring the tools that they are using for those products to be sold. So now, the government's role in Agric Fair is not only to create a level playing field for the manufacturers of these products and the perceived buyers, farmers and the public alone, is to ensure the quality of these products, branding of these products, and availability of it. And agriculture being a national security issue, I do not see any reason why the Ministry of Agric should not put its foot down to ensure that these things are properly done. Now, going forward, we have patents for some of the produce that are being made items that are being manufactured all over the world, and Nigeria is not an exception. If we are manufacturing agricultural farming tools and implements locally in Nigeria, you have to go through the patent, probably get it from the Ministry of Trade and Investment. So that is where government comes in. When you want to get the patent, before the patent is issued, the company needs to enter an agreement with Nigerians, with Nigerian government, to ensure, one, the availability, to ensure that the Nigerian government can come in to provide support and advisory roles, to also ensure that the prices are what is going to be affordable on the long run for those that are going to purchase those products. So patents should not only be given just for the owner to have bragging rights. So the government needs to come in to ensure that they move in a way to ensure that there is no profiteering, even when the items are being produced in the country. Because an average businessman wants to make excessive profit, yes, but the government has a right to protect the interest of the consumers, both either the farmers or the public. That's why we have Consumer Protection Council and the rest. So these teams need to come together to ensure that even when these products are being patented, they are to ensure that there are some agreements that must be reached between the producers of this, the manufacturer of this product, and also the patenting organization, to ensure that these things are put in perspective and there is no unnecessary profiteering, and also to assist the indigenous manufacturers to be able to reach its set goals. It will be a thing of joy, and even as it is now, when we see local manufacturers of cars, for example, exporting it to other countries in Africa, we see the situation of Innocent Motors exporting to Sierra Leone and to other places. It's a thing of joy when a vehicle gets to Sierra Leone or any other West African country and they say made in Nigeria. So the government should encourage local manufacturers to be able to patent their products, support them to the extent that they will be able to mass produce and even export to other countries.
Yes, thank you so much for coming on the program, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, you've heard it. It's a thing of joy for every nation who has a patent of an item, a mechanized tool. He has used a car, for example, and when these tools go out of this country and they're asked, this is made in Nigeria, it's a pride to the nation. We'll see how the federal government, with its resolve in ensuring that the sector moves forward, will be able to get it right this time. On this note, to wrap it up on Agric on ARSN television, it's a bye from here.